touched them. In addition, Jake had killed so many that none of them had dropped an orb or a fragment or a shard or anything like that. At least he still had more than 8.5 days left to get something, as he could well and truly say that his idea of speedrunning the counts had been utterly ruined. Hours passed as Jake healed up and consumed potions whenever he could. He was a bit surprised not a single person had come to the tower during all this time, but maybe it was because it looked abandoned and held constant mist within, or they'd chosen to focus on towers closer to the mistless plains and their base camps. According to Reka, all the large factions had made temporary camps on the plains, so it made sense if they wanted to stay close. When he felt up to snuff, he picked up his bow with a string of mana, got up off the comfortable lounge chair, and put it back in his inventory, hoping he hadn't lowered its value too much by getting it bloody. He had also discovered that the reason it was so tiring to recover was that damn curse again. He was really getting fed up with these curses. So, of course, his next course of action was to dive straight into the cursed mist again, scales and arcane barriers at the ready. He had slaughtered a damn army of knights, so he sure as hell wanted to see what they were hiding. He flew up and began walking through the now empty halls, trying to keep the curse at bay, heading straight for where his boots told him the natural treasure was. Neither sense of the malefic viper nor any of his other senses gave him information about the treasure. It was only his boots. He reckoned the curse was why his sense didn't work. As for why the boots worked, because they were awesome, that's why. Jake finally made it to the final corner turn, and by now he could only see a dozen meters ahead of him, even with his insane perception. He reckoned most more normal D-grades would barely be able to see their outstretched hands. With his sphere of perception, he could naturally see far further, and soon the gate into what he presumed was the Count's chambers appeared. To his utter surprise, the gate was there, good as new, with the same magic circle encountered last time that required the mark of blood to open. The chamber is still intact? What? He was genuinely confused. Everything else was broken and completely eroded by the curse, yet the gate leading into the chamber didn't look any different. The magic circle seemed utterly unaffected by the curse, and as it protected the gate, no signs were left on that either. Jake pushed onward through the cursed energy, walking up to the gate. Behind it, he saw destruction, yet it was all a bit vague. It was like how he hadn't been able to see in the Dark Affinity forgotten sewers before he got used to the Dark Affinity. In other words, it wasn't that he couldn't see anything, it was that there was too much to see. The fact that it was only like that behind this gate meant one thing. The curse was magnitudes more powerful on the other side. Far more than even what it had been when he tried to fly up along the side of the mountain. At the same time, his danger sense didn't respond. It was an odd dichotomy. His logic told him what was behind the gate was more dangerous than anything he had ever met in his treasure hunt, yet his instincts told him there was no enemy. He looked up and saw the same words on the gate as the last tower, and Jake promptly summoned the Mark of Blood. It resonated with the gate, dispelling the magic circle and opening it. A flood of pure darkness washed out of the chamber, yet Jake stood in his place as the mist, oddly enough, just skirted around him. It only went a few dozen meters down the hallway behind him, mingling with the existing black mist, before it stopped spreading. By now, it was apparent this mist wasn't natural, but controlled. Within his sphere, he saw something. A shape appeared, looking oddly human, yet not entirely. It was made up entirely of the cursed mist, and the moment it appeared, an aura spread that was even more powerful than the Count. Jake narrowed his eyes, and simply by using Identify on the black mist before him, he got a response. Yelston's Shade of Eternal Resentment, level 160. Hello there, Jake greeted into the darkness. It squirmed and changed, ever moving, and suddenly the voice of a man sounded out. How do you carry the Mark of Blood yet remain unturned? Who do you serve? Before Jake could answer, another voice came, followed by a goddamn choir. It's a human. How did he come here? He is with the vampires, is he not? A traitor to the pure ones. Perhaps he is with the pure ones. I want to go home. Silence, child. Are you with the pure ones? Who do you serve? Who are you? What are you? Identify yourself. Jake stood there, bombarded by the voices. Many of them echoed and were hard to discern, talking over each other and interrupting in the middle. These were only what could be construed as sentences, too, for in total, hundreds, if not thousands, spoke. Thank Lily for high perception once again. I'm a hunter, squarely not on the side of the vampires, and I'm here to hunt down the Counts and kill all the vampires in this place, Jake said, leaving out the part about stealing all their stuff or the pure one being all dead. I have already killed one Count of Blood, and as for who I work for, well, I would self-identify as more freelance than working for anyone. A moment of silence followed before the voices came back with a vengeance. Enemy of the vampires, a paladin, a holy warrior, slayer of the unclean. Kill them all. Ally, he has a free lance. He said hunter, a vampire hunter. But does he lie? A liar. Lies. He may work for the Counts. He said he killed one. He lied. Traitor. We demand proof. Evidence. Show us proof. 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 Rather than using words, Jake responded by summoning the key and the heart of the Count. He held them both high before speaking towards the intangible form before him. I told you, I'm a hunter here to slay all the vampires. Will you get in my way, or what's the deal? The last words were spoken after he unleashed his mana-infused presence. He hadn't been speaking only for the fun of it, but to try and understand what kind of creature he stood before, and he soon found what it was. Behind the pitch-black form of mist was an item that connected to it, right where the altar had been in the last chamber. It was also this item that gave off the response of a natural treasure. Once more, the Shade was silent for a few seconds, just taking in his presence. Jake had infused it with his desire to kill the vampires, a genuine emotion that he believed the personalities dwelling within the Shade understood. Truth. He has slain one, What can he say?